Wait, did they actually change the aspect ratio so it's even? They did, you fuckers. I did all of that and for them to just swap it. I see a lot of messages. Just give me a second. I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh my god, because this is the 3DS and this was a DS game, so that's why the aspect ratio. Hi, Ramen. Hi, Selma. Hi, Basketball. Hi, everybody coming in. So sorry, we're trying to do lots of tech issues. We haven't done a DS stream in a while, so thank you for being patient. I think we could just use this save file. It's fine. I think the story mode in this is actually worth doing. Oh, do they want me to read? There's no auto advance. The Mario Crew adventures begin late one night. 5 dazzling objects shoot across the sky and fall to Earth. What are your pronouns? My pronouns are she, her. Thank you. The next day, Mario tells the crew that he saw the crystals in the sky he found. Just then, one more surprise. It's Kamek. Hey, chumps. I'm throwing a big Bowser bash. Apologies for being such a jerk. So I've got a buffet with grub laid out for all of you. Come and get it. Oh my god, Diddy Kong. Free eats can't be beat. The Mario Crew goes to the bash. Is it too good to be true? Of course! I could have told you guys that. Fucking dumbasses. Bwahaha, you fell into one of my traps. Now give me the sky crystal. See my minimizer here? Here's what it does. It shrinks you all down to size. The sky crystals are mine. All I need are the 4. Kamek, I'm done with these peewees. Give them the boot. Oh, that's why there's tiny in this game. It's because Bowser... Honey, I shrunk the kids. Hello, John. Happy to see you. The mini heroes pick themselves up and lock onto the world around them. I literally can't read. But there's no time for sightseeing. Our heroes have to go find the sky crystals. Oh, that squad up in the first picture? Oh, that's a girl boss moment. Even the best of friends can be fierce rivals. It's true. The way she walked into the screen. Queen. Look at her doing a little... She's so cute. Please, Donnie? You look amazing. Thank you. I did something different with my makeup today. Oh my god, Wiggler. Cutie. Ah! I'm scared. One of you wee folks stop that brute, pretty please? Everyone jumps at the chance to get the hero. To beat the large enemy, they'll need to gather stars and use the power. I remember the computers would literally kick my ass in this game. The computers in this game are built different. In this one specifically. At least I'm not last.
Oh yeah.
Oh look, it's boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of insane in this game. Oh, there's only 10 turns though. Fierce. Did he just roll a 10? We don't use the terminology fish anymore. It's inappropriate and it degrades women. And we don't do that. But I appreciate the compliment. Okay, I roll a 1. I roll a 1, but everybody rolls like a 10 and a 5 and a 9. Like, okay. Purple, thank you so much for 2 months of subscription. Book it. We're doing a 2v2 mini game. Oh, it's the girl bosses versus the men. Idiot men. Race up the stairs with your partner by taking turns pressing the noted buttons. Reduce your time by the so A, B, Y, X. Oh, I remember this. It's like A, B, Y, X, A, B, Y, X. Yeah, you have to do it in like a turn cycle. Daisy, hurry up! I did it so fast! Girl! Talk about carrying the team. What am I playing, Overwatch comp? Because bitch, that's all I do in that game is carry. You join, what does that mean? Well, welcome in. Happy to see you, girl. So happy to have you here. Like his group? He has a group in there? Donnie, I literally won 6 games in a row in Overwatch comp yesterday, and now I can't get my final win to place. I'm this close to plat. This close.
Oh yeah.
I'm so fucking close. It's okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. We don't need a whole apology video in the chat room. It's okay, we're moving on. Oh, really? That seems like that's really outdated, huh? What computers? What's the difficulty of the computers? I don't think they have a difficulty in story mode. I think they just get progressively harder. I think it's like, you know how like Dark Souls and like those games, they don't have like a difficulty, they just make you play the game. It's kind of like that. Yeah, we're playing Mario Dark Souls, by the way. Is that a slow? I'll keep my 20, it's okay. Are stars in this 20 or 10? Who's your favorite character to play? My Widowmaker games lately have been popping off. But I do main support. I actually really like playing Baptiste, and he's hot, so it's worth it. Is that half?
Oh no.
I think that was half. All of his coins? We are not landing up there. That is not the T. Hi, Harley. You and your partner. Why are we doing 2v2s like this entire game? Oh, excuse me. But yeah, I'll play like anybody. I honestly, there's not like a favorite character I like playing. It's a matter of like, I want to win, so I play that character to win. Because I want to win. Because baby, it's about wins. I'm there to win. Like, if the enemy team has a Ana, I'll play Kiriko. If the enemy team has a Roadhog, I'll play Ana. It's about adjusting your playstyle. I'm like, what is on my knee? But it's a rhinestone. I thought I had a zit on my knee, but it's a rhinestone. Oh, look, a rhinestone. It's a Jocelyn Fox reference. Did you know Jocelyn Fox lives near me? Massachusetts Queen. My heroes never die. No, she's fierce. I usually play her. She's like broken right now. Jocelyn Fox, Jaden Dior fierce. And Dita Ritz. Those are like the three that should be on All Stars and haven't been yet. I'm like, where is their call? Like, what is happening? Also, I don't know how much money they need to do this, but they need to pay Tammy Brown millions of dollars to be on TV again. I don't care how much money they need to pay her. Get her on TV. Also, Kelly Mantle. Why hasn't she been on? Like, she's like the meme queen. Why haven't they just invited her back? They did it with Jasmine. Get the red coin, you fucking idiot! If we fall to the ground, you're done. Was it about a matter of coins, or was that just a coin minigame? Oh, it was a coin minigame. How did they never get I don't know. Yeah, did you see that Adore was supposed to be on All-Star 6, but she said no because they wouldn't let her do what she wanted? I was like, you better know your worth, queen.
Oh yeah.
Not him about to get a double star. Oh wait, no, he's going the wrong. We're fine.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea how I survived the entire weekend with no caffeine. Like, actually insane of me. I didn't get a single thing of caffeine. Can you believe that? Okay, are you serious? That would have been such a good roll if I didn't roll a fucking 1. At least I'm in the lead. Okay. He needs to get out of my face. Oh, I love this one. Avoid getting sucked up into the vacuum, and when you reach the finish, just be the last one standing. I can't disclose that information, John. I'm sorry. Oh, you can jump.
Oh yeah. No.
Okay, if she loses 48 coins, that's insane. There's no way. Okay, it was only 10. Because Mario had 7 coins and lost 7. And I was like, there's no way you lose all your fucking coins. Are you shitting my dick? I'm gonna cry myself to sleep. No, Maddie, it's the new one that came out for the Switch. What the fuck do you think it is, Maddie? The fuck, Maddie? That was so messed up. Why did I just get wrecked? Now Daisy's gonna get another star! Somehow this is Maddie's fault. Yeah, get her for me, John. I'm literally getting the worst rolls right now, girl. So bad. Roller coasters. This is the one I think I told you guys about. Nope, it's not. Also, I just want to let everybody know that I've been like yawning, like just normally, like, you know how you yawn, like as a person of society. Every time I yawn, my jaw cracks, and every day my jaw hurts even more. So I'm a little worried about that, but my jaw is in a lot of pain. I should probably take an ibuprofen. And this is a stylus minigame. Oh, girl. I love Black Cat from Spider-Man. I never played her DLC in the new one, but we do have a Spider-Man thing coming up, so Spider-Man fans, stay tuned. Y'all like Spider-Cum? Sorry, what? Why did I say that? What does that even mean? The whole room smells like cum. I've been so professional this weekend, let me have this moment to be silly. Girl, you should go to the doctor. Tell my mother that! She's the ride!
Oh yeah.
Forbidden State. I actually had a blast. Every time I go to Texas, it's a fun time. I have so many mutuals in Texas, it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Curtis lives there. I know my friend Darius lives there. Orly lives there. Rolla Derby lives there. John lives there. Like, a lot of people live in the giant state of Texas. The dancing diva of Dallas. Well, I wasn't from Dallas, so I didn't go to Dallas. Maybe if you looked at my social media, you know where I was at. Just giving Maddie a hard time. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not too much now. How was the Rumble experience? I can tell you, the catering, because we got to sit in the press box. I got to sit in the VIP press box, baby. The catering in the press box, oof, oof. Those cookies and brownies they gave us, bitch. I want them again now, so bad. They were so good. Like, I need them. Am I finally gonna get a star? Do we eat? We won. They were actually really good seats. Like, we could see. I should have brought my glasses. I didn't bring my glasses, so, which was really stupid of me, but I did have to do press all day, so I didn't have time to like carry my glasses around. So that's why I guess I didn't bring it. Why? I want the star thing. Girl, I'm buying another double dice. It's only 3. Oh yes. Well, someone told me LASIK now. It's not a needle in your eye, it's a laser. Which makes me want to get LASIK even more, because I would consider it if it was a laser. Opposed to a needle cutting your eye. People are saying she's not fully back, which is strange, but I would love to see her back. She's a great heel. This is the one! Study Fall! This is the one. This isn't the one. What the fuck, guys? Plunge down the magnetic board as hard as far as you can. Stop as close to the end as you can. So it's A? It said A, right? Easy win. You know what I probably do anyways? Hold on. I'm gonna... Because this game is like utilizing the double screenage. So I think I could just do this. Yeah. On one hand, I think she's a great heel. On other hands, I'm worried about the safety of the women's division if she does come back in full swing. Well, I mean, Triple H has said before, if you don't improve in the ring, then you get fired. So I feel like he has more longevity in that aspect. I know, she kept saying bitch. I was like, oh. I kind of want to order food again. I've been so bad lately. I don't want to go grocery shopping. I don't want to make food. I'm so lazy. Damn it. Well, I want to order food, but I don't like eating on stream. That's a problem for me. I also am wearing lip gloss, and I really want to just like chow down, but it's fine. We'll see what happens. Every time I get McDonald's lately, I get like sick. Like it gets like, I get like really congested. No other food has gotten me like that. It gets me like congested and feeling gross. I'm like, why? Probably because it's shit food, but like, I'm like, girl, can I just have a fucking fry? I like can't drink soda either. Like soda is like not the tea. I'll like hiccup so fiercely that I'm in pain. I'm like, geez. Oh, this is a microphone game I gotta blow. Blow the microphone and startle the womp into falling on the other team. Whichever team blows the most over the 5 seconds will be victorious. I love that show, Victorious. Okay, we... Where's the mic? I didn't win because I don't know where the mic is. Oh, the mic's at the bottom. Marshall, you could have gone without saying that to make me feel like shit about eating food and having disposable income. There was just like no reason to say that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, we're in a bad spot because Daisy and... How many spaces is that? What? Can I look at the map? Ugh, whatever, I'm just gonna roll. Like, there's no sense in... Okay, well, fuck. Are you serious? I landed on that space again, guys. Oh! It's okay. The star was gonna be taken anyways. So I think it was just better that way. All right. Does he have 2? He has 3? That ain't right. Nuh-uh. No. Not 3. Girl. Duel me. I fucking dare you. Duel me right now. I will take your stars. Choose me. Choose me. Yeah. 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 Okay. He has no coins! That's not fair! What? We're wagering my coins because he doesn't have coins? Are you fucking kidding me? Men just take money from women and steal and lie and cheat. What the fuck is that shit? Oh my god. I'm so mad. Get the fuck out of my ring, bitch. Get out. You just, okay. And this guy's in first place? The fuck? Yeah, I won the duel. Give me my fucking coins back. I just get bragging rights. And now we're on a team together? Guys, I'm intentionally gonna throw. Because if he gets another star, it's a wrap. I'm not giving him coins. I have enough coins. I'm actually throwing this. This is strategy. Like, unironically throwing this. Watch me win with that. If I win with that, oh. The 0 points, okay. I like our drawing, I do. Picasso. See, that was totally strategy. Now he has no, okay, well, he has no coins, so he can't do anything. if we would have won that, he could have gotten some coins. Bitch, I have 59 coins. What is, what? Well played. She's landing on Bowser. Oh. What? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna put that right there. Okay. Mario is in the lead, but we can't go. I want to go to the store, so we're gonna go to the store. I'm just going to the store, Okay. Well, nobody asked, and I don't like your tone, so get out of here, freak! I love the leopard print. Thank you. Pedal pushers. It's a bodysuit, and I'm wearing sweatpants over it, so you can't see my stummy. My stummy! My stummy. I like calling your stomach your stummy. Your stummy! Race to the finish by alternating the pedals. The faster you do, the better. When you reach a slick area, don't alternate quickly, you'll spin out. I don't understand what this means. I can't drive! You're so unserious right now. Are there 2 laps or just 1? My stummy! Oh! Girl, just go. Who cares if we spin out? Just go. And we eat. Hi, Cthulhu baby. How you doing? New record? I mean, come on. Look at the material. You are a superstar, girl. Go off, queen. Did I tell you guys I got the Animal Crossing for the 3DS? So now we have almost every copy of Animal Crossing. We have the GameCube, we have 3DS, we have the Wild World, and the one for the Switch. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm chilling. He's gonna fight me, look. Okay, I was like, just choose Mario, girl. Who's your favorite villager? It's hard. It's so hard. Curtis, thank you for 37 months. I love you so much. How are you doing, sexy? That's my dad. Curtis is my dad. I love my birthday twin. I'm lucky enough to actually really love my birthday twin, Hopkins. He's a inflatable bunny rabbit, and he's blue and stunning. He's super cute. Every time anybody says this, it makes me upset because, like, my favorite character in Animal Crossing is not a villager. My favorite characters are Isabelle and Dr. Shrunk. More importantly, Dr. Shrunk, but you can't have Dr. Shrunk move in. Like, Dr. Shrunk is one of my favorite characters of all time. I swear to God! This is the, like, last turn. Girl! We have to get a star battle in this. Please. Can I time this? Eat my ass! He doesn't have any fucking coins! Are there bonus stars? Capture the Goombas by circling them. Oh, I like this one. Welcome in, Black Sky. Can we do what? Oh, I just got a bomb. Oops. Hello? Hello? Dumb. I kind of ate him up. Finally got to catch your stream after watching most of your vids. Well, thank you for streaming my vids. I gotta like go through my YouTube and like purge a bunch of videos. I really have to. Some of them are classics, but some of them I'm like, oh! Ice cream sandwich, ooh. Why? Why are we battling for 66 coins at the last turn? What was the reason, like, actually? Be the first to tap each star when it appears in the sky. Okay. Yeah, please, no talking about food. We need to, like, make that a rule, because then I get so hungry. Girl, I'm gonna get every star. They're not gonna get a single one. This is my world and you're all just living in it. I won't let them get one. I won't. Fuck you, Luigi! Yo, Luigi, I'm gonna get you in the parking lot. Okay, why'd I eat them up like that? It doesn't matter. Are there bonus stars? I don't think there's bonus stars in this game. I have literally 100 coins and I can't do shit with them. We're gonna have to replay the board again. I can't. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I have to literally roll a 10. And I won't even be in first. We have to pray there's bonus stars. Oh, she just got a star. So now I'm not even in second, I'm in third. Okay. Oh, well now there's no shot. We lose. The next star has to be in front of me. Right, okay. I didn't want to win anyways. It's okay. It doesn't matter what I do. A 1-2 on the last turn? What does it matter? What does it matter? We just lose anyway. Thank you, Curtis. I did more natural makeup. I experimented. I did different tactics to my makeup today. I actually really like it. I usually don't. So when I do my makeup routine, I usually don't do liquid contour. This is not gonna sound like, especially to you just being a beefy buff daddy that doesn't put makeup on at all. Like, I usually do full face, no liquid contour, and then I powder. But today instead I did liquid contour and everything just looks like smoother. I did underpainting for the first time ever. And I actually really like how it worked out. I have to spin the meat. They just asked me to spin my meat. Girl, we killed them here. Girl, die. This is barbaric. Like, we're literally, like, murdering them. Like, what's happening? Hi, Max.
I'm a superstar.
Looks really soft. Thank you. Makeup artist. I did go to makeup school. Clock it. Might not look like it sometimes, but I am a certified makeup artist in the state of America. I didn't, okay. It doesn't feel like I won. So there's no bonus stars? Yeah, because he's a stupid man. What did you expect? Thanks, I understand. Thanks for shoving it in my face that I lost. We're back again.
Oh yeah.
Why do I have to press A? Daisy, press A, you dumb fuck. I'm third again, okay.
Oh yeah.
It is the same order as before. Wait, that's scary. I don't like that. Also, I want to say, I rolled up to Dunkin' Donuts the other day when I came back from my trip. We got to the window, and at the window, it literally said, "Hello, welcome," and it said our names on the thing. And I was like, that's a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know what the science is behind that.
Oh yeah.
If they make me roll a big number this time because the star is close, we're gonna fight. Watch, this is gonna be the turn I roll a 10. Watch, I'm literally gonna roll a high number. Watch this. I think that's past the star. God fucking shit, cock. It is past the fucking star. This game is exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Can we restart? They're literally already gonna get a star. Honestly, I want to throw the mini game to Luigi if I can. Literally, whoever... I'm honestly just gonna throw the mini game. Oh no, we have to win. We just need to win, and then one of them can get the star, and then the star will be moved. Like, that's literally what we can do. Avoid getting hit by the chips. Oh, I could fuck up some chips. I finished my jalapeno chips today, and it made me upset. Oh, it was so sad. Literally travesty. Luigi, it was literally so slow. You guys! Why do women have to do everything around here? My god, men are worthless. We restart here. Tactical avoid. Listen, my tip spots are open. I'll take anything. Oh, perfect. It starts right here. Perfect. Tony, thank you. I'm currently putting together the vlog. Me and one of my mods are trying to put it together, and it's a lot, but we're gonna get it together. It was really fun though. Oh baby, I used to never do the story mode in this because it is literally so difficult for no reason. You're the only one? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I lost. Can I go first? I like being first. First is the...
Oh yeah.
I am trapped in third place.
Oh yeah.
Donnie, please.
Oh yeah.
Why'd he choose Mario and not the women? So Luigi just hates women? That's what I'm assuming. That's what I got from that interaction. That's what I see you for the type of person you are. Oh, so now I roll the number I need. Okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. I have no idea. Can we like not like die like so fiercely this? Okay, I can't. Why did we lose the first board? I'm upset. That makes me upset. I want to win. What is this crap? Okay. Their bodies stay in the way after they die. Why is this game ruthless? They made the hardest Mario Party the DS. The DS is marketed towards kids. Now what is this? If Mario fucking wins this again, I swear to God.
Oh yeah.
This is literally like a psychological attack on me as a person to make me go crazy. How am I? Going insane because this game hates me. Well, at least we get some coins. Girl, I'm taking 10 of these. You won't catch me without one of these. I'm rolling double dice the entire game. All right, it's the pink one. And what did I say? And what did I say? Women are always right, and I am a woman. It's true. Do you think people like just don't understand that I'm doing an entire bit that I just hate men? Some people just don't get it. The girls that get it, get it. And the girls that don't. I have to spin. Why are there so many racing games? Like, what is this? I'm not playing Mario Kart. Hey Mario, can you... Mario, drive the fucking car! Oh. How'd we fit in there? There must have been lube. Okay.
I'm a superstar.
Ah! Oh, I thought I spilled my drink. That scared me. I say it's a bit, but it's not. Or is it? That's what I want you to think. Oh, so he gets to roll a 10, but I don't. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. Like, I'm not upset. Like, this game isn't making me literally upset. Like, it's literally fine. I'm not upset. It literally will give me 2 1s. Watch. I'll put money on it. If I get 2 1s, someone has to buy me dinner. If I don't, then I have to stream for 12 hours. We're not doing that, by the way. That was just a joke. But somebody should give me money.
Oh yeah.
Like, why do they get the good numbers? Where are mine? What are those? Did you guys see that one TikTok of the kid that got murdered in school and rolled up into a gym mat and all of his insides were replaced with newspaper? I know that's random, but I just wanted to bring that up. Yeah, I guess some child in 2013, I guess you can look it up, got murdered, got killed, but it was blunt trauma to the back of the head, but they didn't want to because the court system is broken and there's racism in America. Because this child was black, he literally got assaulted and rolled into a gym mat with his organs replaced with newspaper. The court system deemed it and closed the court case because of the 2 alibis by the 2 suspects. So what I'm saying is that the court system is broken and America is terrible. Very random thought from me, but I just wanted to bring that up. When it clearly wasn't. Yeah, I learned the fact that his insides were replaced with newspaper today. Hi, Kay. Oh, the next star's in front of me. We take these. Who gets 5 coins with me? You know what, Luigi? You take the 5 coins. Why don't you, Diva?
Oh yeah.
I did have a blast. I had a blast. If you saw my Snapchat, you probably... I don't know how many people have me on Snapchat, but I was getting wild. I was getting wild. Why? But I had so much fun. And honestly, like I've been trying to say this, like, and I'm trying to watch what I say because I don't want to like tweet something and it's like misconstrued, or I don't want to say anything that's like inappropriate. But the people in the wrestling department at 2K, I was so frightened because wrestling is such uncharted territory for trans and drag and like LGBT stuff. Like, there's such an empty space that needs to be filled, which I'm honored to fill that role, but it's like kind of like never been done before, so I was really nervous. But they are the sweetest, most kind people I've ever, like, I've never been flown out and treated to a hotel and catered to. The people like were always making sure I was okay. They were making sure I made it home okay. Like, I remember I was walking out of the venue after the press conference with Rhea Ripley, Bray Wyatt, Cody Rhodes, and Triple H. And when we left the building, this is when I met Triple H, and I never got pictures, but because I ran back in because I forgot my wallet. So like I literally had to go get my wallet because I needed to get home. And then I walked outside and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't want to walk home in drag by myself, like in Texas, like that's scary. And then my friend found me and I was like, thank God. Like, one of the 2K, the people, he does the DLC for the 2K games, which is pretty awesome. I told him to add Kelly Kelly, so if that happens, it's because of me. If Kelly Kelly gets in the 2K23, it's me. I pushed it. I told the guy that do DLC to put Kelly Kelly in. Hi, John. Exactly. Good morning. Where's Maddie? There's another cheap mini game right here. Maddie. Survive the longest by staying out of the whirlpool. We have to paddle. Wait, there's gonna be multiple cheaps? Is that what it's telling me? They're underneath us, y'all. Guys, I'm scared. They're like sharks. Like, what's happening? I'm afraid. There's one coming this way. Oh. They all died. As they should, because I'm a queen. But yeah, that's when I met Triple H, which I was so, like, I didn't get any footage of this because I was literally, like, you can believe me if you want to. You don't have to believe me or whatever, because there's no, like, actual evidence of it. I don't know why you wouldn't believe me. Like, what makes you out to believe that I wouldn't? But I have a feeling someone's gonna be like, no, you didn't get a picture with him. You didn't meet him. Bitch, I didn't want to literally, after running into a room with a cowboy hat on, being like, excuse me, I forgot my wallet over there. I didn't want to be like, hey, can I also get a picture with the producer and talent manager of the company? Like, that would be so ridiculous. So I walked back into the room and he was there, like, backstage, because I was literally backstage, bitch. Like, I felt like I was in an episode of Total Divas. I was backstage. I saw where all the talent was at. And then he was there after the press conference with Cody, and then I had to be like, can I get my wallet? And I introduced myself to him, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I just left my wallet. And he was like, you look outstanding, like, incredible. Thank you so much for coming. And Cody, during the press conference, said, he said, I know all of you guys. Like, you can look in the press conference. He says, I know all of you guys. Thank you so much for coming here. I know every single one of you. And then he looked over at me and said, I think I know every single one of you. So I brought that up to him. I said, I don't think you know me. Hello, hi, my name is Nemesis. Like, I did not, I've never met him before in my life. I was like, you are silly. Nope, that did not happen. He is a married woman. Please do not spread rumors. Hi, tell us, Essie. We have to go out. Hi, Sarko. Welcome in. You have your natty confessional moment. So real. So real. I should tweet at them. I should be like, okay guys, then what's this? And then it's the picture of me and Seth playing video games together. Please. And then I get signed to WWE and I am the 4th member of Damage Control. Ding! That would eat. That would eat. Thank you, Persona. Wait, what was the object of this game? We have to pick shells up? Is that what we have to do? Oh! Oh, there's coins. I'll take these, excuse me. Oh, nobody's gonna take these. I'll take them. Can't keep my hands to myself. Can't keep my hands to myself. They literally got wrecked. We're in a good spot, but since there's no bonus stars, I am a little nervous.
No.
This is only the first board. I want a salad. I really want to order food from this place. I think I should. What time is it? I should. What in Davy Jones' locker is a salad? Oh my god, ow, my jaw. No wet stuff on my salad. No. I like that dry ass lettuce. Mm. I'm so serious. I'm not putting fucking shit on my salad. Why is it wet? Stop. Oh wow, I just got a big number. That was a big number. Yeah, and what if I just want lettuce? And what about it? Curtis, I am Curtis. The peach moaning ASMR, is that necessary? Curtis, you literally can't even talk because you are part of the problem like me and we just put fucking salt on everything. We put salt on pizza, we put salt on bread, we put salt on, like, shush. Don't even try to come for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, spiders, look away, Marshall. Okay, Luigi, that was literally all you dumb fuck. Luigi, that's not even close to where we need to be. Like, what are you doing? Do you guys see him throwing? Like, I am literally... Guys! He almost just threw that for us. Okay, we need to order foods. Hold on. If this place is closed right now, anyone want to send me money? I'm buying it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm just saying. Where is it at? Don't be closed. Perfect. They're open. Where is the chicken finger plate with a salad on the side? It comes with a salad and some bread. Where is it? I tried ordering like one of their dinner. I tried something new the other day and I didn't like it at all. French fries. No ketchup, no. Comes with garlic bread and a small salad. How nice of you. You are so sweet. Oh my god. Where are the spicy fries? Ooh, I should just get spicy fries. Their spicy fries are so fucking good. Oh! I'm gonna do normal fries and spicy fries. I want to mix it up a little bit. A little bit of both. A little bit of both. A little bit of bofa. Bofa these nuts in your mouth. No, I can't drink Sprite. No. I almost just got Sprite. What do they have? I don't have like anything to drink. It's fine. Whatever. Yeah, I'm getting fucking wild. Well, I do have 2 checks coming in, which is nice, but I shouldn't be spending money like out my ass, but girl, I'm just too fucking lazy. I just don't want to make food. Girl, can you please? We can't authorize your card. Eat my kitty. Oh my god, I accidentally did the wrong fucking whatever it's called, the CBC, and now it's like fucking up everything. I don't like when I order from this place because their website, it goes, when you place an order, it goes, oh, you're getting very addicted to ordering from us or something. Like smart, trying to be like cute. And I was like, excuse me. I don't like this tone. Okay, delivery in 45 minutes. We out here. No, that makes me sick. I am not. I'm one of the tops, if you know what I mean. I'm one of the top customers. And Maddie, we just had like 3 cheap mini games and you've been sleeping. Can you wake the fuck up? Maddie, you want me to play that SpongeBob game? Wake the fuck up! Didn't that SpongeBob game come out yesterday? What in Davy Jones' locker is a salad? If Mario steals this, oh, he can't. We're good.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna duel me. Fuck yourself in the ass. You bottom. I bet Mario likes to get pegged. seriously necessary? Oh my god, this is RNG. I can't. I don't understand. Pick a rope, then watch carefully as all the players glide across the garbage. Jump off at the right time to fall into the garbage platforms. Girl, I can't. We're about to lose. We don't do practice. That's for bitches. I'm letting fate decide. Oh, I couldn't have been less closer to the edge. Holy shit. Oh, wow. Get fucked. That was scary though. That was scary. Hi, mod driver. Okay, Daisy can have the star. She's cool. We're good. We're girlfriends. She's chill. I would love to use the item store. Actually, I would. I love donuts. It's the pink one. Okay. Girl, for Valentine's Day, you know what I want? I want a box of donuts. You know what I want for Valentine's Day? Dunkin' Donuts. I don't care if I get that every other day of the week. Valentine's Day is coming up, which is sus. This is my parents' anniversary. Move leaves, rub the ladybug off to shoo it off. Okay, we win here. What was I supposed to do? Just let it sit there? This is a fun little mini game. What's your favorite type of donut? My favorite type of donut is double chocolate. I love double chocolate donuts. Double chocolate donuts and apple cider donuts, but for whatever reason, they weren't anywhere to be found this year. You usually get them around holiday season, around like October to December, and they were I only got them once this year, which was really upsetting.
Oh yeah.
I love apple cider donuts. They're so good. Like, they're a different type of hit. Like, I would literally, like, if I could, I would just like lay down in a puddle of apple cider donuts and just like eat my way out. Like, they are so good. Like, it's just... I'm literally from Boston. I've never had a Boston cream, nor do I really want one. Fuck you, Luigi, bitch. How do you get... We have to go all the way up and around? Sure. I've never had a red velvet donut. That sounds heavenly. I would like that. I haven't had a birthday cake like in years because nobody wants to do anything for my birthday ever. But when I did have birthday cakes, they were red velvet cake. Because that's like my favorite type of cake. I remember when Onyx surprised me for my birthday one year. It was the sweetest thing anybody's ever done for me. That's my bestie. Surprised me, took me out, drew me a picture of myself, got me some like little snackies, like my heart. That's like the extent of what anybody's ever done for me is like Onyx doing that. Wait, like this one. Oh, we have to work together? Never mind. I thought this was a fun little... Mario, go to yours, you freak! Oh, good morning, Avacious. Okay, this is not fair. Smells like transphobia in here. But like, we've done stuff here on the live, but like, I mean like in person, like, stuff. Oh, and my friends for my like 18th birthday back in the day, they made me a cake that said like, happy birthday gay. And it was like the shittiest cake ever, but it was like funny. And we just got high. That's when I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore. I want like, I honestly do want to smoke though. Like I want to just buy not a lot of dealers do this, but I would love to buy just a single pre-roll and just one. Like I just want one. Because if I buy like a whole thing of weed, I'm gonna smoke the whole thing of weed. I need to know my limits. So I want to get like just a single pre-roll. Because I used to smoke weed like it was nothing. Oh, I know. I was just teasing, Eva. Oh, I got 10 free coins. Ew. Someone get this woman a pre-roll. I can't remember if I rented this game from Blockbuster or not. I can't remember if it was before or after Blockbuster. Draw a shape. Build shapes on your corner. What is happening? Oh, okay. I see the vision. Are you serious? Hello? Why was that literally the hardest thing of my life? If these bitches win, I swear to God, I'll be so mad. Why? I'm gonna lose. There you go. My God. That was so sensitive. Could you guys see me drawing it on the screen? Oh, okay, work. I wish I could just mail you some shit. No, seriously. That'd be lit.
Oh yeah.
Not Mario being like, yeah, I can't get this, and then just goes the other way. That's funny. Okay, we need this to be a big roll, please. Good, we got it. Nice. Wait, I might be able to get them in one turn. I might be able to get that, guys. Oh, I'm definitely getting that. Wait a second. Nice. Huge. Huge. Secured us the win, actually. No one can do that. Not me landing on my -2 star hex. Is that really gonna affect me? Okay, I was gonna say. I remember there is a Mario Party game that you stand on your own stuff and it will affect you. I remember there is one. I don't remember which one it is. Oh my. Oh, I remember this one. This one was fun too. There's a lot of good mini games in this one. Honestly, I thought Mario Party 8 had the most fun video game mini games, but a lot of them are motion controls. A lot of the ones in this one are my favorites, which is crazy. Oh my God. Oh my, oh. Oh, we can just, I thought they disappeared. We can literally just run. Just a matter of not seeing where you're walking. Like, okay. Okay, it's not that serious, girl. Yo, Daisy, back it up! The fuck, bitch? Just stomped on my head. Get a job. You wanna know something funny? I told someone to get a job and they're tacky the other day in Overwatch competitive, and then we got paired on the same team the next game. It was really embarrassing for me. They were like, hey bestie, what? We both won? Excuse me, I beat her. Yeah, because they were playing, they switched to Wrecking Ball at the end of the game, so I called them tacky. Anytime someone at the end of a game changes to Wrecking Ball or Lucio or somebody desperate to get to the point so they can win, I'm like, you're tacky. You're tacky. You're just tacky. Balance the ducky. Ducky fuck. Does he fuck? Fuck he does. Okay, all right. Oh, we're getting crazy on the rodeo. Oh! You know what, Daisy? You're a bitch. That's what you are. Sorry. I just wanted that to be known.
Oh yeah.
Wait, that's right. You have to beat the boss at the end, and if you don't, you have to redo the entire board over again. I forgot. Oh. Oh. You're a fucking idiot.
I'm a superstar.
I just
Oh,
everybody's trying me in this match. They're all trying me. Nice. It's pink. Holy shit! $30 coins? My god. That's a lot of fucking money. She's a runner, she's a track star. Oh, this one's fun. It's just luck-based, but it's funny. Oh my god, someone help me! Help me! I used to roleplay in this. Oh my god! Of course Mario fucking dies because he's an idiot. Owned. Not me just watching. Girl, of course I have to carry the fucking team. Watch, she's not gonna expect this. Okay. The running. Runs like that. Literally get wrecked.
I'm a superstar.
Does he fuck? Fuck he does. Guys, did you see that my heel broke while I was in Texas? That was so annoying. I just bought those boots and they broke the day I wore them. Oh, I got flour. Okay. Damn fucking right I am. I worked hard to be the superstar, bitch. Ooh, 5 stars. 5 stars. 5-star service, ma'am. I don't know what that means. Do I get to use the 5 stars? Like, what is that? I don't... The fuck does that mean? Catch the bomb seeds that Piranha spits out, then drop them back into his open mouth. Change the direction. Is that B? B to catch and throw, and then A to rapidly rise. The Piranha's plant suction will slowly grow stronger. Tap A repeatedly to struggle upward and avoid being swallowed. Oh, it hit me. I didn't know it could hit me off the rebound. That was kind of cheap. And I have to throw it in while he's sucking it up. Oh shit, it's getting really hard. I, like, looked away for a second. And they're trying to gag me. They're trying to gag the doll. You trying to gag the doll? Oh, you really have to spam it, huh? Oh my god. I let go for a second. You see how fast I went down? Say goodnight, PT. Gagged the fuck out of him.
I'm a superstar.
And we eat. We devour. Oh, look, he's so happy. Now we go to Toadette's room. For sure. You want something? I got some leaves. What, you want me to smoke that? Toadette's music room. Hey, you're small, but can I ask you a big favor? We'll fuck him up, girl. I'm third again? What is this? The star only costs 5 coins. Hello? Well, I hope we can get this on the first try. Unlike that board, that was terrible. You literally just need to buy the double dice, and then like it's almost a secured win. They're 3 coins each, like, it's kind of actually insane. What is that happening space? Do you see that? Do we go the same way? Like, if I go up, does it make me go right? Yeah, there's no way it doesn't. Yeah. What is that happening space? Oh, I just changed the look. Oh. Oh. Oops, did I do that? Oh, I get to throw the stuff this time. I be throwing the chips. My dogs be barking, girl. Look at these fucking losers. Can someone get this clown? Someone get his ass! What the fuck? I hate men. Well, not everybody has 20 coins and I don't. What is that shit? I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Well, if I knew that was the case, I wouldn't have spent all my money. Well, now I'm fucked. Oh wait, it's only 10. So I just need to win the minigame. If I don't win the minigame, I'm fucked. It's gonna be, I swear to, oh my fucking head. Please be something I can easily win. Have as many boos as the target type you can. Match the target type as much as you can. You'll have to shift your view to scan the crop. How is that fair? Why is this a 3v? What? Oh, mine is much larger than the others. Have as many boos that match the target as possible. I don't think that's true. What? Theirs is still the same size. Is there one more? Like, what's happening? How many did they get? Just one? Oh, embarrassing. I think I won. Nods, nods. Close, close. That was close. If he gets 2 10s, I think he got the star, guys. Oh my god, he got it. He got it. Oh, you are such a dick. You are such a dick. Oh my god, I hate him so bad. I hate him so bad. I hate him so much. I'm like actually so tilted right now. That is so fucking ridiculous. Oh my fucking god. This is such a joke. Oh, and now you want to give me coins because you just... Fuck off, dude. I'm like actually in such a piss poor mood now after that. I'm so mad. That made me so mad. I'm so bothered. It's not even worth it. They're near the star. Please spawn on the left of the map. It's gonna spawn like behind me, I swear. It's literally gonna do that. What? Are you serious? Mario, can you go get that? Because I don't want to fucking go across the map for that. I'm in last place. This is the one I was telling you guys about. This is one of the best mini games of all time. How did Toad beat me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are we watching the... Hello? He started slower than me. I'm so bothered. Like, actually, they're trying to destroy my psyche. Pull me. Pull me. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm literally about to power the DS off. I'm like literally getting so tilted right now. Look, now the fucking star space is gonna be behind me because I'm in the middle of the map. Like, this is so fucked. I'm so bothered. Okay, well, I think my delivery's here, so I'm gonna go get some fucking french fries to chill the fuck out. Maybe I'm just hangry. What is this? Power washer. A lot of these mini games are like you fight like avoiding. Like, there are a lot of combat mini games in this one, which are the best ones, but I'm just shocked. Come on, Waluigi. Seriously, bro? Are you guys serious? So you devour me in every other minigame, but like every time we're paired together, you don't want to fucking do your job. I'm gonna die. Okay, well, that's how you clear. What What's devour? Do I have a fork? You guys can take your turns. Go ahead, girl. What did you do? Oh my god. Honestly, so amazing, Iris. I don't think I've had that much fun in so long. It was good to have like a work trip, but it'd be so fun, you know what I mean? Wow, the star is so far away. Oh, my fucking head. This is so ridiculous. Okay. Lovely, thanks. Never winning this. Period. Fuck him up. This was a good one too. I feel like all of these minigames I've liked so far. What happened? This way, dumbass. Thank you, Jesus. There's no way I'm winning. I need to get so many stars. Why does he get that? He could win. He's an AI. Like... Girl. Toad's about to get another star. Oh my god, please spawn in front of me. You all suck penis! This game is shit! Toad's literally about to get that. Oh my fucking god. Like, we just should just restart. Okay, great. Okay. You know what? Fine. Whatever. It's out of my hands. Can you take Toad's star? Please? I'm in last! Girl! Ugh! These fries aren't that spicy, which I'm kind of disappointed at. Can I please roll 2 10s? I'll go fuck myself, it's fine. I will literally go sit on a chair. Thanks, it's gonna send me back to start, look at this. I will literally go sit on a spike and fuck myself. Whatever. Like, I'm not even being dramatic. Do you see? Are you guys watching this? Like, it's literally trying to make me have a breakdown. I don't even care. I'm not fighting for Toad. You do your own thing, Toad. You're in first. I'm throwing on purpose. You see this? They're punching me. That's not right. That's not right. Fuck you, Toad. The way they just kept staring at me with the ball. Can I even win? I don't even think it's possible. Toad's about to get another star. It's not possible. There's no way we can win. High safety. We are struggling. This game has it out for me. Look! It just gave Waluigi a free fucking star. This game! I'm done. I'm eating my food. This game can keep going. Whatever. Not right. It is so... It's so biased towards the AI. Is there a store? There's a store down here. Our only hope is we can buy the star pipes. Let's duel. Come on. I have nothing to lose. I have no coins, no job, no legs, chopped lips, no engagement. Yes, yes, yes! Come on, come on. Come on, please, please. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, baby, a triple! Take that, Toad, you little fucking bitch! Sorry, my cousin's here. He's very aggressive and yells in a deep voice. You know what would be good though? If he puts the star in front of me somehow. So next turn I can get it, and then I can get two in one turn. We could possibly, oh come on please, it has to be in front of me. Okay, that's not far, that's not far. We can possibly turn this around as long as Toad doesn't get another star. And I have to win the next minigame. Oh, fuck. And that's the most expensive one. We like unironically have to... Oh, this is just a coin mini game. This is good for us. Ooh. Mario, please don't choke. Oh, we could have gotten that, Mario, you stupid bitch. Okay, 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 okay. Work, 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 work. Thank you. I had to refresh it after the trip. The trip, this poor wig had to go on through the trip. Like, it rained every single day while I was in Texas. And then on top of that, like, I couldn't do anything to it because I had to get in drag like in seconds every time. Oh my, wait, that's good for us though. Wait, that's good because he's gonna spend all of his money on this expensive star. Are you kidding? You're serious. This game is so unserious. I'm so bothered. Oh my god, yes, Mario. Please. Cheap star, cheap, cheap. Please. Not 35 coins. Don't do it. Yes, yes. I forgive you now. Yes. Okay, make the next one in front of me so I can roll and get it. We manifest. Come on, 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 come on. Come on, come on. That's not. Ooh, that's not. No, and then Toad can get that if he rolls a big number. No. Oh. Our only chance of winning is if Toad doesn't roll higher than a 5. Oh my god, he just landed on that. Oh my god, please don't land closer in front of Toad. Please don't, please. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. It's nowhere close to Toad. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. We clap, we clap, we clap, we clap. Raft Riot, like Ruby Riot? Missing her. Look, another fucking Mario Kart one. Why are they so fast? What the fuck? No. I win. F you. Okay, F you and your mom and your meow. Thinking about how I unironically liked Olivia Rodrigo's music when it came out. That was, nods, nods. Okay, well, he's stealing the star, so eat my hole. Can I just not have... He just gave Waluigi the win.
Oh no.
That is the worst thing that could have just happened. We just lost because of that. We like actually just lost because of that. That was the worst thing that could have happened. I can't believe that just happened. We just lost. We were so close. I'm so bothered. Now there's no way of winning. Because the next star is 25 and we do not have enough. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm a superstar. Oh yeah.
It's lovely. No skill. He won off of one turn. That was so shit. I'm so mad. We had that in the bag. Girl, I can't do it again. I can't. We swap games. This is nuts. That is so fucked. I had spicy fries. I'm so bothered. We're gonna swap games though, so we're gonna do that for my own sanity. That is not where I want it to be. Thank you, Pixel. Yeah, that was horrendous. That made me very tilted. I'm gonna go change, use the restroom, and then we'll be back with another game. Enjoy the tunes. I'll be back.